Welcome to Yoga Intermission. I like to start about a minute ahead of time just to check sound and audio. I know that my partner will support that. If you're not viewing yet, you don't know I'm saying this, so I will repeat it. If you have a couple of blankets, they don't have to be yoga blankets, or one big blanket, that is something that will be beneficial for you in this particular class, because we're going to keep it on the low down, the down low. If you have a yoga cushion, even better, or you can use two bed pillows. You can also use a couch cushion. This is a bit more of a stoking the fire, stoking the energy, not fire. So it's a bit more of a restorative class today. Thank you for the response on the sound and vid. A little cushion or block, also good to sit onto. Or if you would like to start in our starting spot, using something as not as high as a bolster to reset the low spine, you can take the outside of the feet and place them on your cushion. It might feel a little bit awkward to sit for a length of time, but it helps to reopen the low spine, reset the low back. So that's another option for the start. I was inspired a bit, even though I had planned this class in the middle of the week. I was inspired a bit by gave me so lovingly called yawning yoga, which is really lovely. So there are a few similes and some imagery that I'll bring in from that book. I'd like to thank her from my heart for that. We're going to go ahead and get started in a comfortable seat. If you have a normal cross of your legs that you always go to, switch that up. I have switched mine up. We'll let the spine get long. Release the shoulders from the ears. And then I'm kind of cupping and almost grasping my knees. So let's place the backs of the hands on the knees. We're at Yoga Intermission. We're together for 50 minutes. My name is Karen, coming to you from Salt and Sand Studios, right in Vermont. It's a gorgeous day today. It is autumn. And if you joined us a little bit late, please grab something like a throw blanket or two, a couple bed pillows, or a bolster if you have it, or it could be a bigger sort of sofa cushion. In our meditative posture, we're also somewhat restful, unless we're kind of hunching over. So we're going to gather the belly a little bit in and up. Imagine that the pelvis, which is like a bowl going front to back, is you're tilting the back of the pelvis downward a little bit and the front of the pelvis upward a little bit. The objective there is imagining that bowl has liquid in it, and you don't want it to spill to either side. Oftentimes when we sit, we tilt it so that the front of the pelvis is lower than the back of the pelvis. Maybe too much anatomy for you today. But we'll go ahead and close the eyes or cast them downward and forward of your front shin. Shrug the shoulders up to the ears on a breath in. Press the shoulders away from you, behind you, and down. Release it with a releasing of the breath. Shrug them up, breathe in. Press them behind you and release. And one more time. Shrug, shrug, shrug. Squeeze them toward your ears, breathing in. Reach them behind and drop them. We come into a little quietude. We'll take a rotation of consciousness around the body, just saying hello to the various body parts and noticing anything about them without any judgment or analysis or good or bad or right or wrong or black or white or positive or negative. The sort of opposite ends of the spectrum that we often think about. So as you breathe without any effort, bring your awareness to your toes. To the feet. To the ankles. the knees, the sitting bones, hips, belly, the rib cage, fingers and thumbs, hands, wrists, elbows, and shoulders, the chest, throat and neck, jaw, ears, face, back of the head, the top of the head. And maybe at this point, with such focus, you start to feel a little tingling on the top of the head. And as you focus on the crown of the head, that sort of top of the back of the head, that might draw the tingling to greater effect. And consider what motivated you to come to your mat today, whether you're here with me live or recorded. Yoga your way in your space. And if that motivation is something you would like to stick with as your intention, set that. And otherwise, if you'd like to set a different intention, go ahead and establish that with yourself. I'll take a nice big breath in. Open the mouth, let it go. The palms press together as if they found their home at your heart. The heart lifts toward the thumb knuckles toward the palms. This posture that some might interpret as a prayer state, we are connecting all of our energy from the crown of the head, the center of the forehead, the center of the chest, the area around the sternum, the breastbone, the low belly and pelvis, the tailbone, the palms of the hands. We'll celebrate the practice that allows us to stoke fires or create calming energy or rest and relax, among other things. We'll do so with the sound of an om, as if we could spread our intentions around us, a little foundation, a little cloud within which to practice. An om, which is an A-U-M original spelling, allows us to capture some energy and to share it outward. It is said it is the sound of all nature. It is the sound, if you will, of yoga. Union. Breathe in as fully as you can. We're going to make our way to standing. And in standing, we'll move into mountain pose, Tadasana. I always think, for me, it's interesting because Tadasana sounds like Tadasana. But Tadasana is a stable, sturdy, strong, connected, grounding posture to our earth, to this material world, to the energy of Mother Nature. And when we move out of Tadasana, we will greet the rest of nature around and above us. Here, Feet about bony hips distance and parallel to the outer edges of the mat. Hands by your side, palms can face forward if that works for you. Let's shrug the shoulders up to the ears again. Breathe in, press them behind, and then drop them. The lips can be slightly parted. Your gaze can be open. Whereas if we want it to be more restful, we would have it closed. But keep the gaze open and looking maybe at a spot on the wall in front of you, if there is one, or maybe on something else. Single point of focus. Imagine here that you're so rooted into the earth that beautiful green grass is growing upward, all the way to your throat, populating all the spaces, all the places around the body, shaping this incredible verdant mountain. And now imagine with the sun shining above your head, flowers beginning to populate that green mountain. Maybe they're real shapes and colors. Maybe they're something we've never seen here on Earth. And if you're like me, you might have naturally found a little bit of rocking forward and backward or a little sway. Even mountains move. We are powerful. We are present. We are strong. Breathe here. On your breath in, sweep your arms wide and high overhead like a sunflower reaching for the sun. Exhale, hands to your heart, Salutation. Draw the belly in and up. Mountain pose. Sweep the arms wide and high. This time, exhale, forward fold, almost like you're going to kiss your knees. The knees bend. Everything else drops. Head super heavy. If you can, fingers on a prop if they don't reach the ground, or you can rest the fingertips on your tops of your feet. You don't want to have a super rounded spine, but rather as long a spine as possible. Nod the head and shake the head. Take a ragdoll or clasp your hands behind your head and drop your elbows. Both of those help to extend the spine. Draw the belly a little in and up, and now see if you can press the sitting bones a little higher on a breath out. Not necessarily so your legs are straight. Release the hands to the mat. Slowly roll all the way back to mountain pose. Hands by your sides, and then we serve as that sunflower again. Arms lift high like the petals of a flower. Face might turn toward the sun. Exhale, Salutation, hands together at your heart. Sun salutation once again. Drop your hands by your sides. Lift them wide and high. Soften your knees. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. This time we're going to take a half lift, Ardha Uttanasana, gliding the fingers to the shins. Use an exhale to lift up. That really helps activate the belly. Draw the shoulders toward the hips. Big breath in. Exhale, forward fold. Again, we're going to rise all the way to standing. This time, once the arms lift overhead, we'll take a hold of the left wrist with the right fingertips. We love to go right into our side bend, but instead of doing that, imagine you could get really tall on all sides of the body, lifting that left arm. Now exhale, tilt over to the right. If you just shoved your hips way over to the left so that your feet moved off the mat, adjust that. Instead, press energy into the outer edge of the left foot. Lift the heart to the sky and reach those left pinky fingers diagonally, right. We're going to lift back up, switch our grasp, tug, lift, draw the belly in, tilt to the left. a little quarter moon shape, or maybe you're stretchier and you're almost in a half moon shape. We're going to draw straight up and into cactus shape arms, all this nature imagery. Gotta love it, but we're not that prickly here. We're reaching, getting wider, taking up more space. And then we weave the fingers together behind the low back. Elbows remain bent. If your low ribs or your belly or your hips or your knees just stuck out in front of you, draw the kneecaps toward the quads. Tuck the low front ribs toward the hip bones and press the tailbone down. Now squeeze the shoulder blades together. Open up the collarbones, almost like you're spreading your wings, but the wings are behind you. And then slowly the knuckles can draw toward the earth, the arms extending. We're going to sit into a chair pose, one of my favorite postures. If you practice with me frequently, you know Utkatasana, also known as awkward pose, is one of my favorites. We imagine that we've got a pillow or a block or something between our knees. We're squeezing that a little bit so the knees are not touching. Energy is in the heels. We'll draw to the balls of the feet and sink a little deeper, the heels off the earth, finding balance. Breathe in, draw those back down. Pause here for a moment. See if you can squeeze those shoulder blades closer together, like they're interlocking. And then the kiss your knee dance again. Knees remain bent. Head drops down. Uttanasana, this time with our bind. Again, nod the head and shake the head and press the sitting bones toward the sky. Exhale, release the hands to the earth. Half lift. Hands can glide to the shins again. We pause for a nice long spine. Belly in and up. Reach the sitting bones back. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and the shoulders towards the hips. Breathe in. Exhale, release and fold. We're going to take one more sun salutation, rising up as if we are the sunrise. Rays of sun reaching above our mountain. Exhale, release and fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the earth. We step back for a high plank. If you're noticing that I'm wearing sneakers, I am almost at the end of healing a sprained foot. Wrists are right under the shoulders. We're a little powered up here. We check that the bum is not higher than the shoulders, nor is it super low toward the mat. Exhale straight to down dog. Wiggle yourself left and right with your hips, maybe bending the knees to help. And then we settle into a downward dog for a few breaths. Belly in and up. Head loose. Inner elbows smile at one another. Slowly lift one foot off the mat, doesn't matter which. And wiggle that leg around, maybe bending the knee, maybe finding a hip circle, maybe even finding an ankle circle, or one or more of those at a time. Now the foot returns to the mat. Chest presses toward the thighs, hips lift high, and float the other leg off the mat. Doesn't have to come high. And again, knee circles, hip circles, a little wiggle around, maybe ankle circles. And the foot comes to the mat. Take a big breath in. Exhale, come forward to a tabletop, dropping the knees. And keeping your knees together if that feels okay for your knees. Bring the shoelace side of the feet to the mat. We'll take Balasana, child's pose with narrow knees. So it's Balasana 1. So first, the sitting bones come back to the heels. The head drops to the mat or a block if it resists, or a blanket or a pillow. And then maybe the arms reach along the sides of the shins with the palms facing up. That might allow you to bring the top of the head to the earth rather than the forehead. In yawning yoga, they call this seashell pose. I love that imagery. Still strong, but curled up, beautiful. Return to your tabletop. Working a little bit of energy. Knees come right below the hips. And we reach the right leg long behind us off the mat. Square the hips to the earth. And reach the left arm in front. If this balance is too much for you on one side or the other or both, you can always bring the hand back to the earth. We're going to really slowly breathe out and draw the knee and elbow together or the knee toward the nose. Press the floor away, round the spine, lift, lift, lift that leg. Inhale, extend. Being careful not to super arch the lower back. Exhale, knee to elbow or elbow to knee to nose. Inhale, lengthen back out again. And one more time, knee to elbow. Breathe in, get long. Pause here. Hips are squared to the mat, so your belly is in and up. Reach that right heel behind. Drop your hand. Drop your knee. Maybe some hip circles. Or a little letter C left and right. We reset. Again, kind of like in our tabletop, we're neither dropping the belly nor rounding the spine. We are creating a little bit of space between the shoulder blades, but the navel draws toward the spine. Left leg floats behind. Situate yourself. Use the top of that right foot or the opposite leg, whatever you didn't reach out behind before. And the right arm floats in front. So it's opposite leg and arm. We organize our breath and our focus. Draw the knee and elbow together. Breathe out. Lift, lift, lift. Inhale, extend. Exhale, knee to elbow or knee to nose. Breathe in, lengthen. And one more time, knee to elbow. Take your time. Get long on the breath in. Pause here. Draw the belly in, square the hips. Squeeze the right glutes. The hand comes to the mat. The knee comes to the mat. And hip circles once again. Cross your ankles. You might need to move a little forward on your mat and roll over your legs or whatever way makes sense for you. Come to a seat. We're going to move into a Balasana, which some might call butterfly. A little tough with my sneakers on to get the sitting bones close to the heels, but go wherever it feels okay. You might find the starfish pose shape works a little bit better for you here with the heels, with a nice big diamond inside the legs, or sitting bones can come closer. Hands rest comfortably on your shins or your ankles. And then if you started to hunch over, see if you can draw the belly in and up, tilt the pelvis forward, and drop the shoulders. And a nice fun thing that Yawning 4 Yoga offered is actually creating a butterfly effect, not scientifically, but with our anatomy, which I guess that's scientifically, which is maybe bringing the hands behind you, floating the knees upward, but keeping the feet together so you start to feel the inner legs working, and then slowly lowering the knees. The suggestion is an inhale with knees moving up and an exhale with knees moving down. Inhale and exhale. My shoulders were shrugged up to my ears, so I just had to notice that. And we pause here, maybe drawing the hands to the ankles, using the elbows and the belly to help the knees reach away and down. For some folks, this is really uncomfortable on the hips to stay in this posture. If you have pillows or even yoga blocks, they can come under the outsides of the knees. That allows for the spine to get a little bit longer and to support the low back. All right, we're going to go ahead and grab your 2 bed pillows, or if you have a bolster, grab your bolster. And we'll do this. The best way for you to see it, I think, is probably if I do it behind me. You're going to take your bolster or your bed pillows, stack them, maybe toward the back third or back quarter of your mat. And if you'd like something a little bit more relaxing, you could even take your pillow, your blankets, and fold them on top of your bolster. We're going to move into a supported twist. So if you prefer, you can always take this twist on your back. So I will guide you in the supported twist. And if your preference is to take it on your back, I'll share that as well. So we're going to bend the knees and bring the hips to our pillow. So I'm on my left side, bending my knees, and I'm basically sitting with the pillow against my hip. If you're lying down fully on the mat, this is lying down on your back, feet on the ground, knees pointed toward the sky. If you're taking that posture, you're going to gather your knees in toward your chest and drop them over to the left. The arms come out in a T. Otherwise, you're going to walk the hands and bring the rib cage along to the outside, the left side of the pillow, or pillows or bolster. So you're working to have both hands, the hands on either side of your bolster, and lift the belly. See if the heart can come facing the bolster, and then draw your head down. Now, for some, you might be able to turn your head. You might be able to turn your head to the left so your knees and your head are opposite. That's not working for me this morning, so I'm placing an extra pillow under my head. And I had a beautiful adjustment of my spine as I moved into this twist. The idea here is the chest is as much as possible facing the pillows or blankets, and the knees are bent over to the left. We'll take 3 breaths here. How about 5? If you are in the supported twist, take your right hand underneath your chest and press yourself back to a seat. If you are flat on your back, you can go ahead now and bring your knees facing the sky. Everybody shift so that knees are pointed to the sky. If you're taking a supported posture, you're going to press your low back, your hips to the pillow. Drop your knees to the right. If you're on your back, now is a good time to drop your knees to the right and ensure that the arms are spread wide. If you are on your back, you can also turn your head to the left. If you're on your bottom and with your pillow, you're now going to place the right hand outside to the right of the bolster or the pillow and spin your torso so your heart is facing the pillow or bolster. Draw your lowest ribs above the bottom of the bolster. Bring your hands to either side, and then, if possible, the head turns to the right, which works for me on this side. And we relax for 5 beautiful breaths. If you are using props, place your left hand under your chest. Press yourself back to a seat. If you are on your spine, bring the full length of the spine back to the mat, knees point toward the sky. Hug your knees in, rock forward and backward till you come to a seat. We're now going to move into Balasana, or seashell once again, but this time we're going to use a prop. So if you have blocks in a blanket, you can bring the blocks to the ground and drape them with a blanket. If you have pillows, you're going to stack them once again. If you have a bolster, the size of this, that works too. I'm going to place that in front. We're going to bring the knees wider than the bolster. I'm going to go ahead and use extra blankets on my bolster because I think that will feel yummy. It's not required. And just like when we were coming into the twist, both hands on the sides of your props, blankets, cushions, whatever they might be. Sitting bones on your heels and move forward, gently dropping and lifting the chest away from the ribs. And this time we turn our head to the left. Just feeling the back open up left and right, top and bottom. And lift your head, turn it to the other side. And lift your head, press yourself back to a seat, remove any props that you might have. By the way, you could be doing all of this without props as well. And this time the knees draw together and we sit onto our heels. I'm going to take a little cat-cow. I think we have done this a number of times. It's one of my favorite ways to cat-cow. Let's cat-cow. Hands, a little dropping of the fingers or curling of the fingers. And then we reach the heels of the hands outward. We place them on the hip creases. And this is sort of like a rolling pin down the thighs and back up the thighs so you can kind of massage things. So as you breathe out, you round the spine. You kind of lift the pelvis, drop the head, and glide the heels of the hands toward the knees. And then we do the opposite. Glide the heels of the hands back as you arch your back like the cow shape, lifting the heart to the sky. And exhale, round. It's not really a collapsing. It's a controlled rounding of the spine, scooping into the belly, dropping of the head. And then inhale, coming back to the cow shape. And we take that one more time. And then we move back to a neutral spine and come back to a tabletop. Moving in back into a little bit more of an energetic movement. We're going to float the right leg behind us, long and strong, square your hips, and then bend that right knee like you're stepping on the clouds. And then without moving really fast, we're going to slowly squeeze the glutes and the hamstrings on that side. And I want to say bounce, but that is too much energy. Lift and lower that leg with your 90-degree angle in your knee, in your heel. You might not be moving it very high. And we're going to pause and stretch the leg behind us reaching the heel away, and then float that leg over to the right, keeping it as high as we can. It's hard for you to see that. My foot is toward the door. And we're going to use the belly and the glutes, sweep it back behind, draw the knee to the nose. Inhale, extend the leg, and bring your knee to the mat. Wiggle it out if need be. All those shenanigans move to the other side. Left leg nice and long behind. Hips square. Left knee bends. If I had started with the left knee, you would squeezing the left glutes and the hamstrings. We're working the glutes and the hamstrings, but also a little bit of a quad stretch and a hip flexor stretch. And pause. Extend the leg. Sweep it out to the left. Keep it off the mat. See if you can keep your hips square. It's hard to do. Sweep it back behind. Knee to nose. Extend. And come back to tabletop. We're going to take some rolling cat-cows from our forearms. So one at a time. The forearms come to the ground. The elbows are underneath the shoulders. Press the floor away with the tops of the feet, the knees, the forearms, and the hands, and around your spine. Drop your head. Inhale, cow shape. Gaze and hips lift. Imagine that the hands and elbows are drawing the mat backward toward your knees. Exhale, draw the belly in. Squeeze it in around the spine. Drop your head. Inhale for cow. And one more round. Cat to cow to neutral spine. We're going to find our way back to a seat and move into Janu Shirshasana. Janu Shirshasana. Known as head to the knee pose. It's actually head of the knee that is bent. So we're going to extend the left leg onto the earth. I'm going to bend the right knee and drop the right knee outward. The sole of the right foot is going to come to the inside of the left leg, preferably not on the knee. Grab a prop, not one that's too high, but a blanket or a block or a low cushion. If you have a blanket, you're going to roll it up. Place it under your left knee. And then if you have another prop, I'm going to use a blanket. You can use a block or cushion again, not a bolster. It'll probably be too high. And prop that under the outside of your right knee. The idea here in a restorative style of yoga is that we fill the spaces between the body and the earth. So in a true restorative class, we might put blankets all the way underneath. But in a more yin-like class, we may simply place the prop under the highest most point, like the knee is the mountain. We're going to sit up super tall, open up the collarbones, float the arms in front, and lock them back into the shoulders. Breathe in. Exhale, a shift forward as if you're reaching beyond your left foot where the toes are pointing to the sky. Inhale again. Exhale, shift from the hips. Draw the belly in. Inhale. Exhale, shift. And if you've reached your edge or think you have, we'll take that one more time. And then drop your hands. We'll remain here. The aim is a nice long spine. If you need at all to shift your hips, you can make that happen. I just needed to make my sitting bones a little bit wider. I'm bringing my hands to my prop. On a breath out, rise up. Take your prop or props and place it under both knees. Hoping, aiming for both props to be the same height. This is a posture we're going to take a second time. Paschimottanasana. I'm going to sit up nice and tall. Legs are long, but maybe a little bent with something underneath them. Toes toward the sky. And just like we did in Janu Shirshasana, arms in front, lock them back into the shoulders. Breathe in. Exhale, shift from the hips, belly in and up, long spine, as if you're reaching to some being that is smiling at you from beyond your feet. Breathe in. Not exactly the beyond, but beyond your feet. Exhale, shift forward. Inhale. And shift. Another time. Final time. And the hands drop. They can come to your shins or your thighs or your props or the sides of your legs. Heels reach away from the hips. Toes reach toward the torso. Slowly on a breath out, rise back up. Keep your prop under your right knee. Remove the one from under the left knee. And bend your left knee, drop it out to the left. For me, although my left hip generally feels tighter, today it feels a little bit looser. Maybe because we did all of that other stuff before we're doing Janu Shirshasana. Again, we sit up super tall. Arms float in front. Lock into the shoulders. Lift the heart. Draw the belly in. Breathe in. Exhale, shift forward. Second time. And third time. Final one. Hands drop. Head can drop. Use the belly in an exhale, rise back up, extend your left leg as foreshadowed or basically advised. So we're moving back into Paschimottanasana. So same height prop, roll up blanket, whatever it might be, under your knees. Sit up tall, arms forward, lock the shoulders, blades together. Reach forward on a breath out, using the hips, not just the shoulders and the arms. Hands can drop, head can drop. Rise back to your seat. Remove your props. And one more time, we'll move into Balasana, bound ankle pose. Soles of the feet draw together. We sit up nice and tall. If you have lower back issues, move your feet forward. So there's a bigger diamond inside your legs, so more of a starfish pose. If you're in starfish, hands can tuck so the wrists are moving under the ankles and the palm or the insides of the fingers come to the tops of the feet. If you're in Baddha Konasana, you're welcome to remain upright in your bound ankle pose or round your spine, scoop the belly in. And if you're in starfish, round your spine, scoop the belly in, drop your head. Wherever you are, the elbows can help Draw the heart forward and down, and draw the knees outward. Use the belly to rise up. Hands outside the knees. Press the knees high. Soles of the feet onto the earth. As we're momentarily going to come down to our backs, you might want to scoot forward a little bit on your mat. Arms float in front again. Heart lifts. We're taking one more energetic round so that we're not all falling asleep at the end of practice, although that could happen too, and that's not a bad thing. The intention was to stoke the calmer energy without falling asleep. We're going to inhale. Exhale, twist over to the right, keeping your hands as wide as your shoulders. Breathe in and out. Inhale, come to center. Lift the heart. Exhale, twist over to the left. Inhale, come to center. Exhale, come halfway down. Pause, lift the heart on a breath in. Exhale, twist to the right. Full cycle of breath. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist left. Full cycle of breath. Breathe in, center. Exhale, come all the way down to the mat. Move our way into Happy Baby, which yawning yoga calls Bedtime Bug. So knees draw in toward the underarms. Tuck your chin toward your chest while you're here. And lift the shoulder blades off the mat. Spread the shoulder blades wide and then slowly unroll back to the mat so that the back of the neck is not all curved. And so while the nose is pointing upward, you're not lifting your chin toward the sky. And then you can go ahead and take the outer or inner edges of your feet and press them toward the sky as you draw the elbows outward, the knees outward and the elbows outward. A rock left and right. If you extend one leg at a time, that adds some momentum. Sometimes you might get a little stuck, which I'm about to do. Whoa. Coming right, left and right, massage out the low spine. And then what I like to call flying bug konasana, the soles of the feet together. You draw the heels of the feet toward your navel. Bring the knees together toward your chest. Place the hands underneath your low back, above your bum, but at the very low back. You might even stack them. And then extend the legs toward the sky. Imagine that they are candles, long taper candles, and they are firmly rooted into your candlesticks, whatever cool candlesticks your kind of hips make you think of. And then we're going to reach the heels toward the sky and imagine that we are lighting the sun with the energy, the flames coming out of our heels. Knees draw back toward the chest. Give them a good squeeze. Maybe a little rock left and right. Then we're going to rock forward and backward until we come to a seat. For our final couple of minutes, we're actually going to take, rather than a standard shavasana, we're going to take a bit of a meditation. Come into your seat, sitting your sits bones on something if need be. Hands can rest in your lap. This is a meditation of catch and release, imagining that you have a nice big glass jar. And you've got floating around you, almost like fireflies, your worries. They drop into one at a time into the jar. Maybe it's a concern, maybe it's a sadness. Maybe it's something about school or work. And each one you label drops into the jar. Maybe it's relationship based. Maybe it's health or money. And now there are no more fireflies around you. So you screw the lid onto the jar, seeing how easy it was to briefly examine each one of these concerns, sadnesses, guilts, shames. And recognizing that you no longer need them. You've seen what their effect on you can be. And now in the jar, as fireflies, you can actually see there's some beauty in what you have learned from each one of them. Take a big breath in, release it out the mouth. Unscrew the lid to this jar. Hold it up to the sky in both hands and let each worry fly away, releasing yourself from it. Palms draw together at the heart. Return to your intention. Let's meld our intention with the merits of this practice and send it out. This time, not quite like the fireflies we just imagined, but fireflies that go and visit others and bring beauty and smiles to them. Breathe all the air out of your lungs. Deep, full breath in. Thumb knuckles connect with the middle of your forehead. May you be happy. May you live with ease. May all beings be happy. May all beings live with ease. We recognize and honor the light in one another and the practice that brings us together. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for Yoga Intermissions. Try this at home. It's great to be practicing with you, even though we can't see one another. Drop me a note on Facebook, Salt and Sand Studios, or contact at saltandsandstudios.com. Please be sure to like, to share, and if you have funding, to donate on our website. I hope you have a wonderful remainder of your day. Thank you.